It almost looks like a little face tattoo, right?
You look a little harder. That's nice, isn't it?
Give me like a Harley Quinn vibe right now.
I'm 5'10", I'm pretty athletic, I'm pretty intelligent, and so I feel like I checked like a lot of boxes where I was really good at everything. I don't wait for them to come to me. I just go. I like feel like I find what I want and then I go for it. Why would I sit around and wait for somebody to like choose me when like I could just choose them and then like find out if we have a connection or not?
Yeah. You'd want sex to finish early?
Yeah, rather than not at all. Quick is like, still got it. I'm kind of avoidant, so I'm like, you have to come at me real slow. I'm hard to pet.
Oh,
someone bought a stick of butter for $15,000?
Yeah.
They should put it between her boobs. You said that horribly. Just gonna throw that out there.
We're getting real comfortable on the podcast now.
Today we are thrilled to have the amazing Taylor LaVie with us. Tay is not only a stunning model and talented comedian, she's an all-around badass who brings her unique flair and particular brand of infectious energy wherever she goes. We'll be diving into all things dating, relationships, sex, and love, so get ready for some unfiltered wisdom and some many, many laughs. Tay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for
How's
the
your day
intro.
going?
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Day's pretty good. I did some shopping today with one of my friends I haven't seen in a while, so that was fun.
Nice.
Did you buy those glasses today?
I did, yeah.
Dude, they're so sick.
Thank you. I'm like a big sunglasses, and like glasses are my weakness.
See, I don't know. We were talking about how it says Tiffany & Co. on there, and if it's not a trend, I think you're going to set that trend because it looks sick. You said it looks like a tattoo.
It almost looks like a little face tattoo, right?
You look a little harder. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Accidental.
I think I need that with like the pigtails, right?
It's like you're giving me like a Harley Quinn vibe right now.
All right, I'll take
Doesn't
it.
she have a face tattoo?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past her. All right, I'm going to dive straight into it. So,
let's do it.
Upon doing research on you, you were on a Snapchat exclusive dating show by Austin McBroom.
Oh, yeah, I was this summer.
Okay, so please explain what that was, because even though I was like diving into it, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find because it was kind of like airing live. So it was like just a few days off from everything that was happening while we were in the house. So we actually didn't get to watch it, which was kind of weird. And it's funny when you're put in that environment, it's like so interesting how like, because we're living in the house, so it like becomes your whole world, you know? And like we still had our phones and things, but we couldn't really leave the house. We had to stay there. And so it's like everything that was happening, all the drama and stuff felt just like it had so much magnitude. And then after you got out, you were like, what was I so upset for? Or like, but it was really fun because it was just like 12 girls, and every single night, like we'd be done filming like 7 p.m. And so then we would all just like hang out and have like dance parties, and it was just like all girls like having a big sleepover. So it was actually really fun.
Wait, so what is the show?
Yeah, what's the premise?
equivalent
so the show, it was like Austin McBroom was looking for love. So it was like a dating show. So it was like us 12, I think like 12 to 15 girls were all like trying to date Austin.
So he lived in a house with 12 to 15 girls?
No, the whole thing was that he lived out in the RV outside.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we lived inside the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, all the guys and everyone on the production team would go home, and then we would all just hang out.
Okay, question. Is he as like wild, and I mean, I dare say crazy, then as he portrays, or is he kind of like a Marco in the sense where he's actually really sweet and sentimental behind the scenes?
He's actually really sweet and chill, and like they're all his friend group, everyone around him, I feel like are really good, like genuine, nice people. I love that. And then he kind of like plays up the character more, but he is super goofy, super goofy guy. I think that's why he's so good at kind of playing into the character. Yeah. But yeah, it was really fun. When he breaks character, it's hilarious because everyone just starts like crying, laughing.
Did you win?
Oh my God, I was in second place. Yeah.
Did you want to win?
Yeah.
I did. I'm pretty competitive. So like when I was in there, I was like winning the entire show. And then we moved out of the house on July 4th, but the show kept going, and it was supposed to end on July 4th, and it kept going for like another month. And so like with our contract and stuff, we were kind of on call to whenever they wanted us to come, which was really difficult because then I started like missing things that I needed to be at. You couldn't do any traveling. You had to be here. So it got to the point that it was like, all right, this show needs to just be over. And then the other girl ended up winning. But
so now, did you want to win because you actually had a connection with him, or did you want to win just to win?
I wanted to win just to win.
But don't you feel like most love reality TV shows like that, like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? Like I feel like you're just competitive and you want to win. Yeah. Do you actually have a connection with that person?
You know what? There was one girl who I thought had a connection with him. And so it was kind of weird because like she was a really good friend of mine on the show. So it kind of felt weird like trying to maybe also have a connection because she had one, you know? It's like, that's my friend's man. But also I'm on the show for him. So it's like a weird dynamic.
Well, that's what I was like, even kind of going back to Marco's episode when he was talking about Fuckboy Island, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about the friendships that you make with the people that you're on these shows with. And you were just talking about how you guys had so much fun with like dance parties and afterwards. And it must be such a strange thing if you do actually have a connection with somebody or you are in it for that reason and like friends with somebody, but then you're like, don't go after him because I kind of like him. And it's like, it's this very like ass backwards kind of way to operate in life. I kind of like it though. Were there any times where you were like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, often. I had to be talked off the ledge from quitting quite a few times.
Why'd you
Just
want to
because
quit?
I was like, what are we doing? You know, every day you would wake up and it was more like a challenge-based show rather than like taking the time to have one-on-one dates with Austin and really get to know him. So, which we didn't know going into it. I don't even know if they knew. I think they're just kind of making it up as they go. But so every day, like we would wake up and we'd have to do like all these different challenges. And like I'm 5'10", I'm pretty athletic, I'm pretty intelligent. And so I feel like I checked like a lot of boxes where I was really good at everything. So then everyone just started to be like, oh, Taylor's going to win. Taylor's going to win. And then I would.
And then I would.
And so it kind of wasn't fair. Like there was everyone was staying in these bunks and like the beds like would like kind of crinkle and you were sleeping in them. Then there was one master bedroom that was like super nice. You had your own TV, your own like huge shower, steam room. And I was in the master bedroom, I think like every single night of the show that it was available except for like 3. And people were like, oh, well, but I also was friends with everyone on the show, so they kind of didn't care that I was winning.
I love that dynamic though.
Yeah, because I'd be in the main room, so I'd like throw parties in there, and like all the girls would
Sounds
come
awesome.
in.
Kinda
Yeah,
does.
it was fun. And
Wow.
so like no one even cared that I was winning too. So I was like, this isn't so bad.
You're like, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, last one for this section. If Austin McBroom was a dating app, which one would he be? And what would his profile say?
If he was a dating app,
Mm-hmm.
Good question. He'd probably be like maybe like Bumble, because doesn't that one also have the option for like friends and stuff?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like
Who is Austin?
he was a really popular and probably still is like family YouTuber, like one in the early days.
And there was like some
Those are like
controversy surrounding
like
him.
that's where Jake Paul and Logan Paul started YouTubers, or
Yeah.
Well,
They
they
were also
actually started
YouTubers.
on Disney Channel.
the Pauls did?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Oh wow,
You didn't know that?
I don't know anything, as you know.
You know some things.
I know some things.
Yeah,
I know who they are now.
If you saw him, you might recognize him. He had like a family channel with his wife, and then they had a few kids, and then they recently got divorced, and so now he's kind of doing his like dating show.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
As I was doing research, there was like all of this tea and drama saying that they're not really divorced and he's just doing it for attention, like all these kind of things. And I was like, wow, the internet is a wild fucking place. Like everybody's come up with
is.
rumors. It's wild.
Yeah.
All right. I want to, not to make this about Marco, if you're watching Marco, we're not making it about you, but you and Marco are now in a relationship.
We are,
which is
yeah.
so beautiful. And you guys are such a beautiful couple. We kind of witnessed that at the recent event. How did you guys meet?
Oh, that's a funny story. So we actually met while I was on the show, and we went to Barney's like with the entire crew,
Like
and
we said.
Marco set it up. So he was the one who set up the table, and so like, I was on the show, and I was like, he's so hot, I'm gonna talk to him. And so the very first night of the show, I met Marco, and then I met him again when we went out, and I was like trying to flirt with him, and he like didn't even notice me, and I was like, whatever, not on my watch, buddy. And then while I was on the show too, I slid into his DMs, and I was like, smash, and he had posted like a picture of him in a cowboy hat, and I was like, hottie. So I like said that, and then he was like, who is this girl that just slid in my DMs and said smash? And then the day I got off the show, I went to go hang out with him, and it was 4th of July, and we hung out and like hit it off, and then we've been like together ever since. Yeah, we just
So
never stopped hanging out.
that I was gonna ask a question earlier. So when you were on a dating show
Yeah.
with the Austin guy, I assume you couldn't date other people, but you had met Marco the first day. So did you always have him on your mind? Like, I want to win the show, but I also like this other guy, Marco.
Yeah, because I was like, it was weird because it was like, right, it was a show, but at the same time, like there was, right after I sent the smash DM, of course, they went through our phones. So one day we wake up in the morning, they're like, everyone put your phones in a bucket. And then we're like, oh, great. And then we had to go in a room like this, and Austin was sitting next to us. We had to open up our Instagram and go through our DMs.
Stop it.
And so I just have like smash and so I almost like got sent home from that. But it was also like, it's a show, so it felt like your personal life couldn't necessarily get involved, but then it started to, which was kind of a weird thing. So,
But I also wanted to ask you, because you initiated this with Marco, and
Yeah.
you kind of weren't him first. Were you always like that? Because Hannah did the same thing with me. She initiated with me.
I
and
didn't say
was like,
smash, but I fucking would have if it was DMs.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a go-getter. I don't wait for them to come to me. I just go. I feel like I find what I want and then I go for it.
See, and I feel like that is something that gets lost nowadays, where I don't know if girls think they want like the guy to come after them, but it's actually more attractive when you're that confident. You're like, no, I want you.
Yeah, well, I'm always like, why would I sit around and wait for somebody to like choose me when like I could just choose them and then like find out if we have a connection or not, you know? And so Marco tells a story all the time of me sliding in his DMs and everyone's like, that's crazy. And I was like, people aren't sliding into DMs like this? I recommend it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's worked very well for me.
I feel like I like where it's gotten me in life. Thank you very much. What do you think are some like subtle green flags or glaringly green flags that kind of scream that you're in the right relationship? And you can use you and Marco's relationship as an example.
One thing I think is that like since we met, we were very ourselves around each other, like very comfortable. Like we're both kind of like theater kids at heart. And so we do like a lot of voices, freestyle rapping, like making up characters.
Rocco and Christy.
Yeah, we do the Rocco and Christy thing. And so we're doing that all the time. And so I think like feeling comfortable enough to do that with someone, especially right away, just felt like there was already like a safetyness and a connection there.
I love that.
So I think that's a green flag for sure.
What's like the weirdest side of you or each of you that you kind of brought out in each other?
Oh my God.
Is it the voices?
It's probably the voices. I do a lot of characters around Marco and just randomly too. And he's just so supportive of that.
Wait, what's a character?
Yeah,
do a character for us.
Like, what's your favorite and what's his favorite character of yours?
There's like a witch one I've been doing lately, which sounds so funny to say because I'll just like do it randomly and it's like this. This is gonna sound so weird. It's like a witch who's like after his Adam's apple because she needs it for
Please
a
give us
potion.
a little test.
I don't even know if I can do it. It's just like oh my God. It's like that Adam's apple would go so delicious in my cauldron. And like I'll just do that to him while we're laying in bed. And I'll just make up like a whole storyline for this. And Marco will just like sit there cracking up laughing. And he's like, why don't you do this stuff online more? And I'm like, oh no, I'm shy.
That's awesome.
That's a very vulnerable part of yourself to put out there, but also at the same time, I agree. Like that would be fucking hilarious to see.
He's always like, you're so talented. And I was like, I just thought I was being dorky, but thank you.
But I do feel like that has to be the ultimate green flag, that you could actually just be yourself without feeling judgment. Mm-hmm. Like with her and I am so weird. Like I essentially have Tourette's. Like I just walk around the house screaming and shouting things, not even trying to be funny, just because it feels right to me. Like I just love being annoying.
He's a lot weirder than he looks. A lot weirder than
I'm so weird.
Me too. Yeah.
And I just feel like she just embraces it. She's like, let's see, he's just weird. And
sometimes I egg him on.
Sometimes what?
I egg you on. I egg you on to be even weirder, and then sometimes I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like I love you, but shut up. Because he will just randomly scream things out. I'm like, what is the point of that? You just terrified me for no reason. What's the weirdest... Well, I suppose you kind of answered in this, but I wonder if you have a different answer. Like, what's the weirdest quirk that Marco's discovered about you? Like, Joe, when we first got together, discovered that every night before bed I have, like, this entire secret snack stash next to my bed. Like, a legitimate, like, piles and piles of food.
Like, disturbing.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, too much.
Well, sometimes... Like, when I first met her... She was still modeling. So like I thought, oh, like you must like be super healthy and super fit. Like she looked it. So like in the middle of the night when I first started staying with her, it'd be like 2:30 in the morning and she was like sleeping and then would wake up and start eating. And I'm like a
little raccoon.
So I looked at her and I was like, are you eating or are you sleeping? And she's like, oh no, I'm just snacking. I
was hungry.
I was like, but you were just sleeping. And there's just chips all over her bed. And I'm like,
chips,
what
candy,
the fuck?
chocolate.
Wait,
like,
so funny.
And I just like, it's just man. He's like, you're so fucking weird. I'm like,
I'm pretty religious about like my teeth and my retainers, and so I think that's like I'll like fall asleep taking a nap and I'll wake up and I'll be like, where's my retainers? And like I have to put them in because I grind my teeth really bad, and so that's one that Marco and like my retainers I have like a couple different ones, but my ones I wear is like almost like a night guard, so there's like a list and everything. Yeah, and he's
do you
like,
give him a kiss with it?
Oh yeah, he's like, this is so hot, Taylor, and it's not.
Hannah has, I don't know if you have it on now.
Yeah, I have it on now. So my teeth are all fucked up, like just from years and years of not taking care of them. I'm gonna go in and get like a full thing redone, but I had this tooth taken out because it was a baby tooth and it never fell out naturally.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had to pull it out and then they gave me a retainer, and I always say, I'm like, where's my tooth?
Yeah, real love was when
it's literally like a plate where you put it into the top and like a little tooth sits in there. So
real love is when you like gave up on the tooth you were just like, I'm just not gonna wear my tooth, and she would just have these missing teeth, and she's just like,
It's on one side, bro. And then he would just call me a hillbilly and I'd laugh at it. It was pretty
So I
funny.
think that's kind of fun. Yeah, I had a dream last night. I had a nightmare last night that, you know, when like the teeth falling out one.
I used to have
all
that
my
nightmare
teeth
all
were
the time.
There's
used
a
to
meaning
too,
behind that.
I know.
Somebody Google it after the show because
I think it means something to do with money.
I think it's like, I hope it's not bad. It's I think it's like anxiety or something.
Is
I
it?
think it's like a lack of
But
control.
I'm like so weird about my teeth too. And
You have
so I
beautiful
feel like,
teeth.
thank you. They're veneers.
Me
so-
too. See,
That's
maybe
what I'm
that's
about
why,
to
because
get.
I have veneers.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a traumatic veneer experience where like maybe they're gonna fall out.
I'm
every
always
night.
just so afraid I'm going to mess them up, you know?
Mine's messed up. Can you
And then
see?
I'm going to have to go.
You do have a little chip in the front one.
Oh, you
Right here.
chipped it? I chipped mine when I first got them, but like bad. I had to go get it fixed. I looked like a little hillbilly.
See?
Yeah. And then I was like,
Twins.
that was expensive. So now I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm about to go get a whole bunch of like veneers and all that kind of shit. I'm excited for it, but I'm also terrified of the fact that I'll fuck him up. Like,
Yeah.
if Marco was a snack, what would he be and why?
Oh my gosh. If Marco was a snack, he would probably be like, he'd probably be like those like gushers that have like the little sour jelly inside.
Oh my god. Hannah was doing a recap with me about the podcast on the drive here, and
Yeah.
she said this question. In my head, I said, to me, Marco would be a Sour Patch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First he's sour, then he's sweet.
Yeah.
Type
He
of
just,
vibe,
yeah.
For sure.
I like
Mhm.
that a lot. What's one thing he does that annoys the absolute shit out of you?
It's probably just like, well, he's such an extrovert that he thinks, and I'm an introvert extrovert, so I like both. When I'm out being social, I'm very social, and then I have to go like hermit alone. He's so extroverted that if I want to be alone, he takes it personal, and he's like, "What do you mean? Like, why don't you want to hang out with me?
You don't love me?
Yeah." And I'm like, "No, I just have to I have to go be by myself and like regain my energy." Whereas he gets his energy from like being around so many people. So that's probably the one thing that's annoying, because sometimes I'm like, can we just chill for a little bit?
I like to call it turtling, where I can just go back in within myself
Yeah.
for like a couple of hours to recharge, and then I come out like a fresh little turtle. But it's so Joe's the same. He's always like, I feel
I
like
love
you get
it.
energized by other people. I'm like, we were just talking about this at the party on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, I just need a couple of hours to literally not be around anybody so that I can feel like I can be myself again.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Mm.
And Margot takes it personal. He'll be like, are you mad at me? I'm like, no, I'm not mad at you.
I love you. I just need time for
Yeah.
myself. What's the best piece of relationship advice you've ever been given? It's a deep one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's some good stuff I've gotten. Maybe that there's no rush. I feel like nowadays people always want to rush into relationships, and like granted I did, but but also like rushing to move in together, rushing to like get married, and I feel like sometimes that it's like relationships are so much fun in the beginning, and sometimes all those beginning stages get lost on people because they're always rushing to get to like the next phase of a relationship, you know?
I think that's very
And I
great
always
advice.
think like a slow burn is nice, you know?
What stage are you guys at now?
Well, we've only been together for a few months, but if Marco had it his way, we'd already be living together and probably married. And I'm like, no, you're not moving in with me. We're not moving in together
Slow
yet.
your roll.
Yeah,
But now
it takes
is
time.
that something that you guys have like actually talked about, or is it still so new where you're just letting it happen naturally?
I think we've talked about it, but it's not something like, I love being by myself and I love my space, and so I like being able to go to my space and no one else is in it. Like if I ever did get married to someone, I would still want my own room somewhere in the house of like my things, you know, and they can have their own room. We can have a room together. So.
What about bedroom? Would you sleep in different beds?
I would sleep in the same bed, but I would think it would be nice to have the option of a guest bed. Like, for example, if I'm really sick, I just want to go be sick and gross by myself with my humidifier and my tissues, you know?
I will say, like, one of the hardest things, I think, for me personally, when we moved in together was the fact that I didn't have, and we lived in a fucking 500 square foot studio apartment for like 2 years when we first got married. And I didn't have that space to just be able to go and be weird by myself, or just to kind of like decompress by myself.
Yeah.
And neither did him, granted, but that was like the hardest thing. Now that we
But
have
it's
extra
funny,
rooms, it's so much
because when we
nicer.
first met, I would joke around and be like, "Oh, when we get married, we're gonna have 2 separate rooms." And she was like, "No, you're sleeping with me."
No. You said separate beds
separate
in the
beds.
same room, and I was like, the fuck?
But she was like, "No, we're sleeping together like forever. Like we're sleeping together. Like it's very intimate." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And now that we actually are married for over a year, she's like, "Yeah, I'm starting to consider that 2-bed thing. Like it
But
makes
now
sense."
we have the big king bed. I feel like we barely see each other in the bed.
Yeah, but
like
the
he's
king
so far
beds
away.
are
I'm
really
like, oh, I
good.
love that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
even my natural self, you know, the way men operate in bed, you're like, you can go stink in your own room and
Oh, you mean farting in bed? Because that's what you do constantly? Thank you so much for bringing that to the attention, because that's all you do. I swear to God, as soon as you get into bed, you're like, You let loose
Time to
and
let
then-
it out.
Oh my god!
I'm just
I
naturally
literally
myself.
keep Febreze next to my bed to be able to
Stop.
spray him.
Right next to your snacks.
Yeah.
Is that why? Because it ruins your snacks?
It's like a holster. Exactly. It ruins the experience for
I
me.
never thought of it that way. I'm actually ruining you eating.
Thank
But
you.
see, I always think it's so fun when you get to a point in a relationship where you're like that comfortable with each other. Like that's like I feel like that's what intimacy is. It's like being gross with someone and it doesn't gross you out.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. It's that I think is the most beautiful thing actually about marriage and like long-term relationships where, well, you're talking about the fact that you can just be completely yourself.
Yeah.
And when you say completely yourself, it's like every facet of yourself. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm like, you're fucking gross. I literally am like, get up, go outside. Like, gross. But I love you for it. Last one for this section. What's one thing every healthy relationship should have besides love?
Oh, communication. Open communication. I think that's the biggest one. Because if you could just have that and like you just save everyone so much time and energy on like guessing how someone feels. Like I always tell Marco, I'm like, if I have a problem, you're gonna know it. And now he's starting to learn that, you know, like if I do have a problem, like Taylor's gonna tell me. I don't have to like guess if she's upset or guess how she's feeling. Like I'm gonna let you know, buddy. Trust me.
Which is, I think, is like, it's actually quite opposite of a lot of women. Like a lot of women aren't, like I'm pretty, I'm like 50-50. Sometimes I'm like, I can say it, I can verbalize it and communicate it exactly. And then sometimes it's hard for me to be able to do so. And I think it's quite indicative of women sometimes where we kind of expect men to be mind readers or we don't know how to communicate it. And then we say it in like a roundabout way, which confuses the absolute shit out of them.
Yeah. I feel like I've been in a lot of relationships and like situationships where now I'm just like trying to waste the least amount of time possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I just put it all out there and I don't deal with nothing anymore. I'm just like, this is what I have to offer. You don't like it? Send it right back, you know?
I love we're getting a preview of all these little voices as well.
Oh yeah, that was my anchor man.
All right, we're going to dive into sex.
Okay.
Are you really a big fan of blowjobs?
I am.
Or were you lying?
No, I am. I am.
What do you like about them so much?
You know what? And there's a story that I always tell, and I don't know if it's well, the very first time I was ever like gonna get into it with a guy, I was like hyping myself up. I was like, I'm gonna give him a hand job. You know, I'd never done anything like that before. But like men are so good at doing that to themselves that I'm just never gonna be good at that, like how a man could do it.
Nailed
right?
it.
Yeah.
I remember one time Hannah was asking me, like, oh, I want to jerk you off the way you jerk off. And I was like,
You'll never be
can
able
never
to
happen.
do it.
And she was like, yes, it can. I was like,
There's years
I
of
kinda got offended. I
years,
was
the
like,
angle, it just can
practice.
never happen. It
Yeah.
can never happen.
And so I was like, you know, try to do it. And he's like, just stop. And that was like my villain origin story. And I was like, I will never be made a fool of again. So then I was like, you know what? Can't do that. I'm going to go to the next thing. I'm going to get really good at BJs. And then I just like did a lot of research on the internet because I was like, if I go back into a situation, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm told that again, I'll go become a nun, you know? So then I was just like, I'll try to do that. And then I feel like I got good. And then, you know, when you're good at something, you enjoy doing it. So then it was like, okay, now I kind of enjoy doing this, you know?
I really do. And I feel you
Not
very
all the
deeply
time.
in it.
I don't like
what did
wake
you Google
up and
though?
I'm
What,
like,
what did Google say about being good at
You
PJs?
could find
Oh,
you could
so
find some
much.
tutorial
Really?
videos. There's a lot of stuff on Reddit. I mean, even back in the day, I was like 17, like looking stuff up, just trying to figure it out. There's lots of tips online.
So it
There's
didn't take
books.
me.
There is
It
books.
took me until the age of 27 to get the reverse. A woman told me, she gave me the pat on the head.
She gave you the dreaded tap.
She gave me the pat on the head and she said, do you know what you're doing down there? And I was like, yeah. She's like, no, you don't. And
Stabbed to the heart.
she was like, you know, I think you're a nice guy. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
And at 27, she kind of
let you know.
said, you're not good at this. And I was like, damn, I never want to not be good at it again.
Yeah,
But I do have to say, I'm a very honest person. Hannah loves giving BJs. I don't reciprocate as much.
He does not. But he's learning. He's getting there. Because
But-
like you're very good at it.
Yeah, I'm
it's just
good
like
at it.
very far and few between.
Mm,
I feel like
Yeah,
he's
I
like
don't know.
keeping it shrouded. He's like, I'm really good at this and I'm just gonna unleash it.
slowly.
Exactly. Slow burn. See? There you go.
Yeah.
Would you rather have sex in front of 100 people or describe in detail the first time you had sex to your parents?
Oh, describe in detail the first time I had.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really close with my mom. She's probably knows too much about me, more than she wants to know.
Where's mom?
Mom's in Chicago.
That's where you're from?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
And so, yeah, I would way much rather be like, so, Mom, it was like this.
This is exactly how it went down.
Yeah, it lasted 4 seconds.
Would you rather give up sex for a year or give up the internet for a year?
Sex.
Sorry, Marco.
I honestly thought you were going to say the opposite.
Oh, no, I need my internet. I need my phone time. I need my ChatGPT. I feel like that's where I get a lot of like inspiration for funny things. It's just like scrolling on the internet, you know? Because where else would I get my information? I have to like go to a newspaper.
Wait, so on the internet, what's your main shtick?
What do you mean?
Like
where am I perusing?
no, like what kind of content do you put out?
Oh, I do like funny skits. I do a lot of like modeling. It started on Instagram of being kind of like a typical like Instagram model, like hot girl. And then like it slowly I started putting more of my like personality into it and like funny memes. So now I have a meme page and I do a lot more like comedy and skits, and then just recently started doing stand up too. So
Really?
yeah.
Because of Marco?
No, we actually, that's kind of how I knew of him. Like I love a funny guy because I'm a funny gal, I think. And so that's like, I've always liked guys who are funny and kind of in that world. And even though I try not to date comedians because I don't think they're always like the best people. I think they're all kind of crazy, you know? But
yes.
It's fun that we both have that in common. And so I'd done a lot of open mics in New York and like taken classes in New York for stand-up. And then when I came here, Marco was like, Taylor, I'm just putting you on a show and you're just going to go do it. And I was like, no. And then I did it and I crushed. And I was like, oh my God.
So do you still do it now?
Yeah, I just did my first show at the Hollywood Improv like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I saw you on the flyer. I was like, fuck, I wish
I love
Yeah.
comedy shows so much. And Marco's been inviting us to his, obviously.
Yeah.
What comedians do is so hard. And I give them so much credit. But when you're funny, there's nothing like getting an audience going. And I'm like, that's so impressive.
Oh, you literally feel like you float out of the room afterwards.
Feel like a god.
Yeah, especially because like when you write jokes, sometimes you kind of write it like you can guess where the audience is going to laugh, and that's not always the case. And so it was very like satisfying that where I thought the audience was going to laugh, they laughed. And I was like, oh my God, wow, that feels so good.
Do you get intimidated though when they don't laugh? Do you get nervous? Or are you like, fuck it, I don't give a shit?
I don't know if I have done enough shows to like really have bombed heavily yet. I feel like I've actually been pretty lucky in the shows I have done where I've always gotten a good amount of laughter. But I can imagine that I can't wait till I'm very comfortable on stage because I think that it's kind of fun. Like a lot of the stuff you come up with like quick-witted, just like off the top of your head. I feel like it's the funniest stuff. So I feel like if an audience wasn't laughing, you might really be able to tap into like, okay, I have to make them laugh and just like kind of spitball like something hilarious you might not have even thought of before.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I like that a lot. All right, back to sex. Would you rather they always finish too early or never finish at all?
Early.
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
A date or having sex finished
Sex,
early?
having sex.
You'd want sex to finish early?
Yeah, rather than not at all.
That would be
Not at all is like, I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah. Am I not doing it properly?
Quick
Oh,
is
yeah.
like, still got it.
Too fucking good
See,
at
on the
what I
guy
do.
side, we're all over the place. Quick for us is terrible, but when we make you guys come quick, it's like, yeah,
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
but
same
how we
thing.
feel.
That's how we feel. We're
Yeah.
like,
yeah. But if we come quickly, that's it. It's done. If you come quickly, you can keep going.
Well, it depends on the man.
yeah, you can keep going. Once
What?
You're done. You can keep going when you're done. Give it a try.
Give it a go, babe. Two more for
kidding.
this section. What's your definition of a fuckboy?
Oh, a fuckboy is what I thought Marco was. I thought I was just going to make out with a hot fuckboy, and he wasn't at all. I felt very deceived. His content even comes off like a fuckboy. Smoochy Town, Smooch of the Week.
He was
and
on a
then
show
called
called
Fuckboy
Fuckboy
Island. Then you get to know him, and he's like one of the nicest guys I've ever dated. He's like not a fuckboy at all.
But he was cast as a good guy.
He was, yeah.
I was supposed to be on Fuckboy Island,
Really?
but she ruined it for me.
Oh,
Did I ruin it
you
for you,
found
or did
love.
I save you?
You
Might have
saved me.
him.
Actually, I could have been friends with Marco on the show.
It all
Did you
happens
see him
for a
on the
reason.
show? He cried like 3 times. It's
No,
so
I didn't watch
funny.
the show.
We just watched
Sweet
it, and
angel.
I was like, good thing we were already dating once I saw this. It's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, baby, I have the ick.
Why was he crying?
He's soft. He cried on one of our first dates. We watched the Will Smith episode where like his dad leaves, you know?
Oh no, but that gets me every fucking time.
He turns
when
it
I watch
on
that.
and he's just like, he'll always be like, here come the waterworks. He's
Oh,
like,
he's such a
he's
sweetie.
very sensitive. Yeah, it's
You
sweet.
can kind of tell once you get to know him a little bit more that he does have a sensitive soul.
It seems like Tay and Mark are like me and you, but the opposite. She cries just watching like a dog lick a human.
Oh, I'm like the same way too. I'll cry at like a Toyota car commercial.
If I'm not between like a 4 and a 7 on the emotional scale, if I'm too happy or too sad, I'm crying. Like that's just it.
Oh, I'm the same way too.
Joe will come home sometimes like right before my period and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, just watching this video of these people being really nice to each other. Like I could cry right now just
me
thinking about
too.
it.
It's like I'm teared up.
It's so
Like I love bittersweet. I love happy crying.
soldiers coming home.
Who?
Soldiers coming home. Like if
Oh,
you watch the videos,
oh,
it
yes.
fucks me up every
Oh,
time. Like
same.
I need to cry That's what will happen.
Sometimes I'll just go watch videos like that because it feels so good.
Yeah,
to
it does.
cry.
It really does.
Yeah.
One of our team members went home and visited, like, surprised her mum in England. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, please send me a video. She sent me a video today. I started sobbing.
Really?
Like, I was working and I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful because it's just
Yeah.
really nice.
It is. Whenever someone just like has a healthy baby, like I don't even know the people. No,
Stop it.
happy
Why
for you.
is it so nice?
And then it's like they're like, this girl's crying over our baby like a freaking weirdo, and I'm like, sorry.
Because it's nice.
I'll never understand it.
Last one. If your sex life had a soundtrack, what song would play on repeat?
Probably just like bow chicka bow wow.
What do we listen to?
DVSN.
DVSN.
What's that?
He's a fellow. He's a musician.
Oh, he's a fella.
Dude, listen to it. It's so sexy.
Is
It's like
it?
some of the sexiest music I've ever heard.
Yeah, when she puts it on, I don't know what happens to my brain, but I'm like, you are the sexiest man
Really?
Gets
alive.
Wow, you guys gotta send me this.
I have like a full-on sex playlist.
Okay, because I don't know if I really turn on music anymore. I feel like I did when I was younger, but let me set the mood.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if I do.
You kind of need to when you get married as well, especially if you work together and like the way that we operate.
Oh,
Like it,
yeah.
it's a signal to be like, okay, now everything else sloughs away.
Oh,
Well,
that's-
because
that's
so-
really smart,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, sometimes like sports will be on, and we'll be getting intimate, and I'm just like, oh,
You
yeah,
can't.
what's happening in the game? And then I lose focus,
Oh,
and I'm just
sure,
like,
yeah.
fuck, gotta throw some music
Can't
on.
do that.
Yeah.
I'd be so angry. You're up, darling.
I'm up. Okay. What's your go-to first date? Drinks, dinner, karaoke, comedy?
I do love a comedy show. When I lived in New York City, that was like what I would do for maybe a second date, though, because you don't really talk during the
Mhm.
comedy
Mhm.
show. But it can kind of be a good icebreaker, I guess, if it was a first date to do a comedy show, because then you could talk about it afterwards. So there's no like having to lead too much of the conversation. You could talk about like the comedy you just saw.
But what if you get picked on a first date?
I think it's hilarious. I love being roasted.
Me too.
I feel like it's like if you're roasting someone, I feel like you feel comfortable enough to. And so to me, I'm like, oh, you really like me, huh? Even if they're saying like terrible things, I'm like,
Where in
Still
New York
fond
did
of
you
me.
live?
I lived on 40th and 10th, so kind of Hell's Kitchen area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm from New York. I live there.
Oh, okay.
We're going back. I miss it.
Couple weeks.
Oh, fun.
What's the wildest pickup line someone's used on you? And did it work?
One time someone came up to me and they were like, oh, sorry, I thought you were Iggy Azalea, and then like tried to hit on me. And I was like, I'm lacking in the butt department. But I was like, we're the same height. We both have bleach blonde hair and like moles. So I was like, okay, kind of.
Do you
But
know
I
how to
was
do an
like,
Australian accent?
She's Australian.
Australian accent. No, he's just what is
That's
this?
British, darling.
Australian.
Just be really lazy with it. It's really hard. I'll teach you afterwards.
Okay. I feel like I can do one, but it always some will like go British. And then also if I
Fair.
start, I'm not gonna be able to stop. The rest of
You
this
go
is
home to
me
Margot.
doing an Australian accent. Yeah.
Marco does a drive-by. That's what he said was his
Yeah.
best pickup line.
Oh, I've seen it. He still does it.
It's actually one of our best performing clips that we posted.
The drive-by,
when
yeah.
he talks about his
Uh-huh.
drive-by.
But honestly, starting to hang out with Marco, I like start to pick up Marco mannerisms and things like that. Where like I went to Vegas after first meeting him, and I'd walk up and be like, "What's the prettiest girl doing at the bar here?" And people love it. It just like makes it feel so good. They're like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I see why he does this. It works very
It's
well."
super endearing.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what are the best questions to ask on a first date?
Best questions. Let's see. I mean, I keep it pretty standard when I go on a first date of just trying to get to know someone, but I always think it is better when you can kind of get into a groove of like deeper questions. Maybe like how like they view the world, if that makes sense.
100%.
I
I think-
can't think of any off the top
No,
of
I
my
think that's a
head,
great
but-
question. I think that's one of the things that Hannah and I spoke about. We kind of viewed the world the same, but very different.
Yeah.
But I think just having the conversation created
But-
a lot of sparks.
Yeah, we both have like the same end goal, but we just got there differently, which is always really interesting. But our morals and values were very, very aligned about like what we wanted in life and how we wanted to
Yeah.
like affect the world. We had this chick on recently when we were asked her that question. She was like, my favorite thing to ask on a first date is like, what's the worst thing you've done on purpose to somebody else? And I was like,
that's a
"Damn,
great question.
right?" 'Cause it
that'll
kinda-
really show you who someone is.
Fuck yeah, because either someone gives you like a lame ass answer, someone gives you a really deep and like meaningful answer, and then you can
Yeah.
like judge whether you want to see them or not based on that answer, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'll like scheme evil things I would do to someone, but then I'm such a big believer in karma that I'll just be like, oh, I would do this, but like I'll never do it. I'll be like, just let it roll
Like
off.
I'm too good at human.
Yeah.
Be lucky.
My mom just like ingrained that in me where it was like, everything you do is going to come back.
Mhm.
And so I'm like,
All comes
not
around.
touching it.
Smart.
What's one first date mistake that should be added to the dating do's and don'ts handbook?
Wait, a first date mistake that should be added to the...
Yeah, like something that you should definitely not do on a first date.
I feel like you shouldn't talk about your exes. I feel like that's
100%.
always very awkward.
It's so prevalent though. So many people do it. So many people go into detail about their exes. It's like,
yeah, and I'm just like, what
calm
is
down.
really going on here?
Yeah.
I feel like that, and I feel like for a guy, if you bring up that you want kids in the wrong way, no matter how cool you are or how much of a spark there is, it's just like an instant turn off.
Yeah, but I feel like that's men and women. Like if a woman comes in and is like, I want children, like on a first date and is super duper intense about it, then I feel like it's always going to come off bad. But like he literally asked me, he's like, what do you want in life? And I was like, it's going to sound very corny. I was like, but my absolute like top dream is to become a mother. Always has been. Like that's like, to have a family. Like that's just been such a big motivator for me in life. And I think the way that it was said, it was really sweet and kind of like was beautiful in that way. But if I came in, I was like, I want children.
Yeah,
My clock's running out. I want kids.
Yeah,
I'd be
see,
like,
that scares
whoa.
me. I'm afraid.
Terrifying.
Because I'm kind of avoidant. So I'm like, you have to come at me real slow. I'm hard to pet. You
Kinda
come
like a
at me
cat.
too quickly. Yeah. Marco's like a golden retriever and I'm like a black cat. It's literally that relationship. I'm always like, what do you want from me? What's going on here? I don't trust it. I'm out of here.
What's your opinion for showing up late for a first date? Is it a sign of drama or a sign of bad planning?
I am not a huge fan of it. If it's a first date, I'm going to be like on time. But obviously living in places like LA and New York, sometimes like stuff can happen, you know, things with the subway. And so I think there's like a 15-minute leeway window. But if it was like a reoccurring thing with someone, I would find that very annoying. So,
Better dating city, New York or LA?
I think New York.
Why?
I think in New York, there's just so many more opportunities to meet people organically, in my opinion, where like I could just walk outside of my house and like just go like make a friend that day from just walking around and like meeting people with similar interests. Whereas LA, I feel like it's so destination based of like I'm driving my car to go to the spot that there doesn't leave a lot of room for that like happenstance, like serendipitous moments.
100%.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was single in New York, I would just go out on a Friday night if my friends were all busy by myself to like the local bar, and you meet so many people.
Oh, I would
like
do that
so
too.
many people.
I knew no one when I moved there, so I would just walk outside my house and be like, dun, 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 dun. And then I would end up having like an entire crazy day happen.
Oh,
It would
yeah.
be so much fun and make all these friends, and then
That's what I miss about New York, because you can go to the local bar at 9 o'clock, and then at 3 a.m. you're like, how the fuck did I get here?
yeah, you're like in a random penthouse.
Yeah.
Like, who are these people?
Oh yeah, I fucking miss that. Oh man.
We'll be back soon, darling. Don't worry.
Yeah, but we're too old for that now.
Yeah, true.
I don't even
How
want to
old
be
are
out.
you guys? Can I ask that?
Yeah. he's
34,
33.
Okay.
At least I think once we hit like 32 or 30, like now just like turning 33, I was like,
I'm kind of feeling it. I'm turning 31, and I'm like, all right, let's lock it up.
And it's not even like your body literally just is excited to go home and go to sleep when you're 34. You're just like, okay, I was out for a few hours. It's like 10:30. This was nice, but like I can't wait to just go to sleep.
And I just feel like I've done it. You know, like I've
That's
stayed
the
up
other
so
thing.
late, and then it takes so much for me the next day. And then I feel so terrible the next day that I'm like, why did I do this? You know?
I had a 4-day hangover a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Whereas I used to be able to go out for like benders for like 3 days and then wake up the next day and be as fresh as a button.
And I'm sure it's like, you know, when you're a pretty girl in your 20s, you live a crazy life. So it's like, how much energy can your body go for how many years? You know, like you two, I'm sure, had crazy stories in your 20s.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you did it all. Like, what else could happen to you?
Yeah, that's kind of how I think it too, is like there's nothing more that I could really experience, like craziness wise, of going out that I haven't already done. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't like a repeat, but also do I have the energy within my body to be able to do that?
Or knowing the repeat's going to happen without like if someone came to you and said, hey, tonight you're going to end up at like Leonardo DiCaprio's penthouse, you're going to be like, oh, sick. Like, I'm definitely down for that.
See, I'd be like, eh.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too
Oh,
sure
see,
about
like
that.
I wasn't as cool as you guys, so I would be so down for that. But maybe the unknown of like, is this going to happen? Is like, well, it's not worth the energy.
I'd much rather be at home in sweatpants. Eating
But I would
with some snacks.
I would ask for a night out. If Leonardo DiCaprio invited me to his
go
penthouse,
for it. I would be in full support of that. I will still be at home.
that'd be awesome. Worst first date story.
Oh, I went on a first date once. You know, and it's never good when a guy is like, hey, come to my house, I'm gonna cook you dinner. And this is when like I was too young to know that was a bad idea, because now you're like stuck in this guy's house who's a stranger, you know? He's already got you home.
How'd you meet him?
I met him at the gym. So like I knew of
Okay.
him. We kind of knew of each other. So it wasn't like a total stranger, but I didn't like know him personally. And I was like, oh my God, this is so romantic. I'm going to go to his house for dinner. And I got there and it was immediately like the vibes were terrible. He cooked a really shitty dinner. And then like the chicken was like raw. And then
Insult
he was
to
just
injury.
immediately all over me. And I was so uncomfortable. And so I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to get out of here. And I was like, oh, let's go to this really cool coffee shop and like get some tea. I think that'd be cute. So we go. And then he like just randomly signs a napkin with his signature and like slides it over to the table and is like, it's going to be worth something one day. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was literally like, I couldn't get out there fast enough. I was like, oh my God. It was terrible. And then I was like, I have to go home, you know? And then I left and ever since that day, he tried to hang out with me a bunch afterwards. And I was like, I've never been so uncomfortable.
Is this LA or New York?
This was Chicago.
Chicago.
Ooh, yeah.
I know nothing about Chicago.
Wait, I'm curious. Is that signature worth something now?
No. I don't even know what he was doing that like it would be.
Was he high?
I don't know. I don't even know what the plan was. Like he's just a regular
I'm just literally
guy.
in my mind's eye, this is going to be worth something one day. Like
Yeah.
sliding it over you two in a creepy way. Ugh.
Were you ever in a situation where you connected with somebody online and then you met them in real life and their profile didn't match who they were in real life?
Not so much like looks wise, but definitely there's some people who I feel like really good at like playful banter through text message because they have the time to think of something clever.
Mhm.
And then when you meet them up in person, like they don't have that quick-wittedness because they're having to like be quick. And I kind of like that. So like when I have playful banter with someone, I'm like, we're going to be in love. And then like when I show up and it's not there still, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know if this is going to work for me.
Little
See,
bait and
that's
switch.
kind of why we think on dating apps, guys could use ChatGPT or girls and be the best version. And that's why we're like, well, why don't you meet each other as fast as possible so that it could be their natural self.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
I do think that's true that a lot can get lost in translation on dating apps. And so it always is better to just kind of be like, let me go see what this person's about and like feel their energy and kind of their vibe. And then
Exactly.
like you can usually tell kind of quickly too in person.
Exactly. Especially, okay, we'll get into it. But okay, as you know, one of our key differentiators in our app is that we help you set up a first
Well, I
date.
actually don't know if Tay does know that.
Oh,
I
so
was looking you guys up a bit before I came here.
Oh, that's
Doing a
good.
little research.
doing your
I like
research
that.
today.
Yeah.
So one of our key differentiators is we help you set up a first date because we want you to get in real life as soon as possible. So, in your opinion, what's the best place to go on a first date? Coffee, drinks, or dinner?
I like a drink date, so either a coffee or drinks. If the person like doesn't drink, then coffee. But I think it's nice to kind of get that first interaction because sometimes I don't want to be locked into a dinner if we meet up and I'm like, oh my God, this is so boring. I hate this. And now we got like appetizers and the main course coming and like I can't wait. And now we got dessert, you know? So it's like too much. So I like a drink date. You can kind of meet and see what they're about. And then it's like, if that goes well, then it's like next time let's have dinner. Or from there, let's go get some dinner.
See, that's what I like. That's what I
Yeah.
always liked on dates is go for a drink. And then if I really vibe with that person, be like, why don't we go grab some dinner?
Yeah.
So I have a question for
Perfect
both of you. As
Yes.
attractive women, how do you say you have the option of a coffee date with this guy or a drink date with this guy? Does the level of attractiveness or interest sway you one way or the other? Because as a guy, if I'm like, I'll go with the coffee date because it's
Yeah.
cheaper and like, I don't know how this is going to go. But if I'm like super hot, I don't know where this can go. I prefer it's at night, get a little boozy. I would go with the drinks.
Yeah, I would prefer a drink date as well for the same reason. The only way I would do the other one is if the person didn't drink at all.
Mhm.
Then I'm like, that's fair. It's like a comfortable environment. But otherwise, I feel the same way. It's like if a guy takes me to a coffee date, I'm like, you don't really like
You
me
don't
that
fucking
much.
like me at all.
Yeah.
I don't like day dates. I never liked them. Like I never really liked being with somebody in the broad daylight.
Yeah, especially for the first
For
time.
the first time, like I don't want to see you like that. I don't want you to see me like that. For the
Yeah,
first,
but
for the first time, I want to go out for a drink in like dusk
Yeah.
or like early evening.
something a little sexy.
Yeah, and it is. It feels sexy. It feels like more intimate. There's something about it. If like I was in broad daylight, someone was like, "Come get a coffee with me," I'd be like, no.
Unless maybe they want to take me to like an art show.
That's different because
And
there's a
I can get into that.
continuation of it, just like sitting at a
Yeah.
coffee shop. But as to your point, like the non-alcoholic edge to it, there's always a contingency. There's
Yeah.
always there's always an exception to the rule.
always an exception to the rule.
Always, darling.
Who should pay for on a first date and why?
I'm old
Be
fashioned.
honest,
I'm
Faye.
old fashioned. I like when the man pays. you
All
know?
the time.
I pay for stuff here and there. I mean,
No, on a first date.
Not on a first date. No, I'm not paying on a first date. No, I'm not even pretending to pay on a first date.
See,
I'm like, you know what you got yourself into, buddy.
yeah, it's funny. We asked this question to a lot of people, and I'd say 95% of the time we get that answer. And as the guy, Hannah knows this. When I was on a date with somebody before I met her, I would always pay, even if I knew instantly like this is going nowhere.
Yeah,
I was just like, it's just the right thing to do.
it is the right thing
Right?
to do. Yeah,
Okay, glad we're on the same page.
it is.
I feel like everybody needs to, all the guys need to take note. Just pay. Just pay.
Just pay. Don't make it weird. Don't make us pretend. Oh, whoopsies. All I have in there is a lip gloss. But like when
Okay.
I'm in a relationship with someone, I'll pay for things sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, of course. I
Everyone
mean,
pays for something one way or another. You know what I mean?
now when
That's
Hannah's
right.
like, I'm paying
That's
for
right.
this, I'm like, yes, you are. 100% pay. The other day we went to go get outfits for the pickleball event.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, usually I just pay for everything. I'm just saying, not all the time, but usually it's
Yeah.
just like natural. So I'm in line with all of our clothes and she's behind me. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, no, I'm just going to pay for my stuff. And I was like, you're going to pay for your stuff separate to mine? She's like, yeah. So I pay. And then she goes and I was like, but why didn't you pay for mine? Like, why are you paying separately? It's either I pay for us or you're paying for yourself. Why don't you buy my stuff?
Yeah.
I get it.
I was like,
that
the
made
fuck?
complete sense to me.
Total loss for me.
I feel like you were like, I'm being polite.
Thank you. I was like,
Kinda being
I'm
polite.
not making you pay for it.
Yeah, you're like,
You're so sweet.
I'll
And
pay
you
for
always
my
pay for
stuff.
like you try to pay for everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna make you buy this $300 outfit. I'll buy it myself. But then you got angry at the fact that I didn't buy yours. Like,
Yeah, it was like kind of nice, kind of not.
See, I feel like being married too. It's like I don't even know in that realm.
that's
of where,
when it gets
like,
tricky.
That's when it's tricky. You're like, we're married, so like, right? This is technically kind of like our
It is.
money because
And
you
hearing,
got
like-
$5, I got $5.
We just pay for it separately. It's
But
our
like
money, but we
seeing
pay for it
seeing the
separately.
cashier, I assume they didn't know we were married until we said it.
Mm.
But I was like, wait, you're not paying for mine? And like the cashier was like, and she's like, no, I'm not paying for yours. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then she was like, well, we're married.
It all
And you're
evens
like,
out
okay.
in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, last one for this. We have the red flag board that goes up all of our events
Oh, yeah.
where people could pin their top red flag. What would you put on that
You
board?
said
as your-
that horribly. Just gonna throw that out there.
We're getting real comfortable on the podcast now. Yeah. What would you put on the red flag board as your
You know
biggest
what?
red flag,
I
Tay?
saw one on the board that I thought was so good where someone said if they have like a curated Instagram feed as a man and there's like no reason for it, you know, it's not like part of their job. They're just like doing it to do it. But also I feel like if you go to a guy's profile and he follows just a ton of girls, especially like the sexy kind, not that there's anything wrong with that. But I'm just saying it's like, what are we doing here? You know, like what's your Instagram algorithm feed like? Like what are you doing online?
I had two guys who
kinda
were both my friends in LA, and every single time I would come across somebody's influencer profile, these two guys liked every single one. And I'm talking like every single one. And I was like, this doesn't look good. Like, obviously these
Yeah.
girls know this. Like, you should probably, I didn't want to tell them, but I was like, you guys should not like all these photos because everybody sees it.
How much fucking time do you have?
But it was like every single like influencer post these two guys liked. And I was like, I mean, I see them, but I'm not going to like them because everybody knows what you like.
I mean, your For
Yeah.
You page when we first met was a little questionable. I'm not gonna lie.
I was a
but
single guy in LA. What do you
yeah,
expect?
still. All right, we're gonna play a couple of games
Okay.
because we love games here. We're gonna play. The first we're gonna play is called How Well Do You Know Yourself. So I've gone
Oh,
to like
okay.
the depths of your social media
Oh, no.
and or the internet.
I'm so sorry.
And I loved every second of it. And we've only got a couple today, but I want to see if you can finish these sentences, answer these questions. Ready?
Okay.
What does your bio on Instagram say?
Oh, it says it's a full-time job, being this hot and funny, have fun and be yourself, send memes here.
Ding, ding, ding.
Does Tay know that no one's ever gotten?
I told you not to tell people that. because
No
you
one's
set
ever gotten them all right.
You set
Oh.
them up for
That's one for
failure.
one.
That is one for one. In a video of June of this year, you had a video posted to Taylor Swift's "The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived," and it started. You said normal girls were boring. ...
Wait,
you know
what
it.
have I done? What did I do?
So it was a video.
Okay.
And the song was set to Taylor Swift's "The Smallest Man Who Has Ever Lived," and the caption over the top of it was, or the words over the top of it.
I was painted like the Brooklyn Bridge. I was cosplaying the Brooklyn
But you
Bridge.
were gone when I
Yes,
cosplayed
yes.
the Brooklyn Bridge. Also, can you please explain what that was?
So you know what? I one day was just like online. I was just on the internet having fun, and I found this like really phenomenal professional body painter, and she does like all this really cool artwork, and she does it with like landscapes. And so I like messaged her on Instagram, was like, "Hey, I love your work. Would love to work together sometime." This girl Trina Mary, shout out Trina, and So then she happened to be coming to New York and she was like, do you want to do one of these and like collab on it together? And I was like, hell yeah. So then she was like, all right, show up to the Brooklyn Bridge at like 4:30 in the morning. Cause that's when like the lighting was good and no one was around. So I show up to the Brooklyn Bridge and then she just like paints me. It took like several hours and I was just up there in like little shorts and pasties, just on the Brooklyn Bridge. People are walking by from the night before and like no one knew what to make of it. And you had to just stand still. It was kind of a crazy experience, but it turned out kind of cool.
Turned out really cool.
Did the people know that there was a human being there?
It's like, yeah, but like you kind of blend in with it. So once you got like the angle just right, it was like all of a sudden you could see me. And then once you got the angle right, and you like couldn't. It was like you blended in very well.
It was
That's
wild.
cool.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Truly like an incredible artist to be able to do something like that, especially with like the shifting lights and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was like the hardest part. She was like, we got to take the pictures now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 2 more for this. In another video posted in June, it started with girlhood is competing for the same guy on a dating show, but
Still doing each other's spray tans on your backs.
but still helping each
3 for
other
3.
apply spray tan on your back. She might get 4 for 4.
What?
You might be
So
our absolute
nervous.
first. Actually, there's 2 more. I lied. In a recent skit with Marco titled Rocco and Christy, Get Kidnapped, should I say, what food dish were Rocco and Christy arguing over?
Lasagna.
Just go.
The
Whoa.
lasagna.
It was a lasagna. Like
Last question.
any
Here
good
we
Italian
go.
people. All right, an article by the Daily Mail about a stunt of yours that went viral. What did you have between your boobs in the photo / what did you auction off, and how much did it auction off for?
A stick of butter.
And how much did
for $15K.
What?
Ding, ding, ding. First person ever to get all of
Wow.
them correct.
Fuck the 100th episode. This is way more
Don't say
iconic.
that.
Oh my
All right.
god!
Wow.
Someone bought a
Feels
stick
good.
of butter for $15,000.
Yeah.
They should put it between her boobs.
Yeah,
And then
and I made a joke and I was like, this is how you soften. I was like making cookies with my mom too. And she just knows I'm silly. And so I was like, this is how you soften the butter quickly. And then people started being like, I'll buy it for $5. So then it was like a joke, like of auctioning it off. And I thought that was funny in itself. And then eventually someone came through and was like, I'll give you $15K for it. And I was like, yeah, right. And then they were like, no, I'm serious. And then I had to send them that with like a signed photo of me. And I was like, how am I going to get this stick to butter to this guy? Like without it melting. But my mom does catering, so she helped me.
So you did it. You delivered the
I
stick
did.
of butter
I
to the
delivered
guy.
it and he wired me $15K.
What? That I have no idea what that guy
Which
did
isn't
with
that
that
much
butter.
after taxes, you know what I mean?
No, not really.
What do we
but
think the
still,
guy
if I
did
could-
with the butter?
I don't know.
Oh my
I don't
god!
know.
Some
wanna-
questions you don't ask.
That's exactly
Wow.
right.
I actually did take the money because it was during COVID though, and I took a bunch out and just got $100 bills and passed them around at the mall to people who were last minute Christmas shopping.
Dude, that's
yeah.
our dream. We
How
talk about
about
that all of the
we
Yeah.
give you a couple $100 to do that with us? That'd be
Oh, okay.
amazing.
I'll come with.
I'm gonna do it with $15,000.
It was so fun. I did it with like because like after taxes and everything, I think I did it with like 2 or 3K or something.
What? We always
And-
want to do that.
But it was so fun. It was like people didn't know like if they should take it or like what to do. And it was like really sweet. And then there was this one lady who there was like this one girl who like her family member had just passed away and she was like worried about like paying for this outfit for the funeral. And so like I bought the outfit for her. Yeah.
Oh,
it was
stop
like,
it.
it was really, really
You're the
sweet.
best.
Yeah. It's
gonna
Christmas
make me cry.
miracle.
Wow.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's Joe and I talk about it all the time. Like when and if one day that we sell this app and we hopefully have millions and millions and millions of dollars, that our dream is just to be able to go out and help people and put like thousands of dollars into an envelope and go and just give it to
Oh,
somebody.
yes. Yeah, I have goosebumps.
Like just the joy.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
should do that.
it's
We should
like-
set it up.
It's like innately
We'll use the
selfish
app's money.
almost.
It's fine.
Don't say
But it
that.
does.
No, we will.
Publicly.
It just feels
No,
so
we
good.
can.
Yeah.
It's
Like
promoting
one time
the app.
there was
Philanthropy.
my mom was a single mother and there was a Christmas where like she didn't really have any money for presents or a tree or anything. And on Christmas Eve, someone knocked on her door and when she opened it, there was like a ton of presents, a full like cooked meal and like a Christmas tree. And she
Wow.
never told anyone like that she was having issues because she was like too much pride, you know? And she was like, I still don't know who that person is. But so
What?
during Christmas every year, she like loves to pay it forward. Yeah,
Stop
I
it.
know.
I'm gonna cry. But that's the thing
I
when
know.
it's anonymous, even too. It's just like
Yeah.
the most beautiful thing because like you don't need an.
I can't let you cry.
Okay. Well, this was a great moment.
No.
Before you guys both lose it,
Cried on that episode.
let's. Am I up with this or that?
Yeah.
You're gonna lose it.
Dude, it's so beautiful. It's so nice.
is. So
And your
sweet.
mum seems really lovely. And I feel like
She
she
is.
totally deserved that. Okay.
She read too much like Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul when I was a kid growing up, you know, and I think that's why I'm so soft, you know.
You're sweet. That was so
Am I up with
beautiful.
this or that?
You are. It's a
Okay,
last
we're gonna
segment.
play another game
Okay.
called this or that. So you'll say either this or that,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
No, but just
you'll
go.
choose one.
You'll understand.
This or that.
You'll understand what you listen to.
Okay. Would you rather Share your location with your partner for a week or swap phones for a day.
Share my location. We share our locations.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he knows where I am all the time.
It used to be a problem in the beginning. Now it's all right.
Oh, how come?
Oh my God. One story in particular. So I used to go to Soho House to work every day.
Yeah.
And one day I get this phone call. Where are you? I'm like, at Soho House. No, you're not. I'm like, no, I am.
I can see
I'm like,
your
I'm looking here.
location.
She's like, it looks like you're up in the hills at someone's house. And I'm like, no, I'm at the Soho House. And she's like, were you up at the hills at someone's house? I was like, no, I've been here all morning. And she's like, this is fishy. Your location was somewhere else. And I was like, babe, you should come to Soho House and look at the cameras for the whole day. Like, I've been sitting here. I don't know what you're talking about. And thankfully, not like it didn't escalate, but I was just like, no, I'm just here. Nothing happened.
Great story, Joe.
I don't know. Let's go look at the tapes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm just kidding.
Red flag on the play. Flag on the play. See, look, sports metaphors though. Aren't you proud of me?
So proud. Next, dancing at a club or quiet wine bar?
Or quiet what?
Wine bar.
Probably quiet wine bar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Love that. We're in our 30s
I like a
now.
conversation.
Me too.
You know.
Me too.
Actually, I was thinking I want to do a wine bar date this week with you because we were watching that movie, The Show, with Kristen Bell.
That new one that just came out with Kristen Bell and Adrian something or other.
Terrible names. I gotta see their face.
On Netflix, you'll see it.
Yeah,
It's
but it's
very
good. They're at a
popular.
wine bar and it looks really like a really nice date. Matching tattoos on the first date or swapping outfits for a week?
I would maybe do matching tattoos. I think that'd just be fun.
We just got matching tattoos.
Did you? What'd you get?
Hartinis.
Logo.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. I love that. I love
Yeah.
the heartini too.
So cute. The stick and
Um,
poke too. It didn't hurt at all. I love that.
Oh, the
would-
stick and poke?
I love that.
Yeah,
that's
it was
good.
super easy.
You got two more, babe.
2 more. Okay, would you never be able to see your parents?
It wasn't parents, was it?
So there's like, I'm really bad at this, but whatever. Never be able to see your partner's face or only see their face but never hear their voice.
I think I'd rather hear their voice.
You'd rather hear their voice?
Yeah.
Smart decision. There's something about our bodies that are more attracted to the voice.
Yeah. Margot has such like a great little raspy voice too. I love it.
Very distinct.
Yeah.
Last one. Have someone ghost you after an amazing first date or have them become overly clingy and needy after a mediocre first date?
Oh, ghost me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because now what am I going to do with this? You know, at least if you ghost me, then like it's like bummer. But then if now I got to like let you down easy.
Puts all the work on you. You're like, fuck, I don't want to do that.
Right. And I'm like, I know I'm great. I get why you'd be obsessed with me, but now I got to break your heart. So I don't want to do it.
This hour's gone by so quickly. It always does with the good ones, doesn't it?
Does.
Thank you.
But we really appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be with us on this
Yeah,
beautiful
was
Monday.
fun. I had a blast.
Do you have any upcoming comedy things that you want to announce or
Or
anything?
projects in general.
Let me think. No. I am doing a lot of comedy shows. I don't know when my next one is. But it's probably going to be within like the next week and a half. I wish I had a date to tell you, but I don't. You just got to follow me on Instagram to find out.
Where do they find you on Instagram?
Taylor LaVie, TAYYLAVIE on everything.
And we'll
Yeah.
put the link in the show notes for you, Tay.
Thanks.
And we appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. It does us very well.
Really helps us.
Subscribe. They're lovely and they throw great events. The event I went to was really fun. I was very impressed. Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
So
great.
glad. We're thinking about making that a repeat.
Well,
but
we're going to do one with Marco and Smooch
Yes,
Town
we
next.
Oh
do a
yeah, I heard about
collaboration.
that. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Nice.
Us too.
Happy dating. We love you and we'll see you next time.